Welcome to Where Are They Now? We reach into the archives of Lenape, Shawnee, Cherokee, and Seneca High Schools and invite selected alumni to share memories and fill us in on their career paths after commencement. Since Lenape's first graduating class in 1961, Shawnee's in 1972, Cherokee's in 1978, and Seneca's in 2005, over 75,000 individuals have received diplomas from these four schools. Hello and welcome to another edition of Where Are They Now? I'm Mark Sonsini, a 1996 graduate of Cherokee High School, and today we'll be talking with a Shawnee alumnus from the class of 2003. He is an advanced therapeutic endoscopist and gastroenterologist at Jefferson Health, residing in Morristown, New Jersey. I'd like to welcome Jonathan Foster to the show. Jonathan, welcome.
Great, thank you, Mark. Thanks so much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, great to have you with us today. I'm excited to hear about your career in the medical field. But first, let's go back and talk about your time at Shawnee. You grew up in Tabernacle and Medford?
Yeah. I spent the majority of the time in Tabernacle. We kind of moved back and forth, but the majority of the time I was in Tabernacle. I went to a private school prior to going to Shawnee. It was called Woodland Country Day School down in Bridgeton, New Jersey, and we actually would drive about an hour a day down to Millville with my mom, who worked down in Millville, take the bus down to the school and come back the same way. But I was still very involved with like sports and things in Tabernacle, so I got to know a lot of the kids growing up in that area, and then transitioned over to Shawnee for high school.
And you had a couple siblings that went to Shawnee with you as well. Tell us about them.
Sure. I have an older sister who graduated in 2002, Melissa. She's living out in Chicago, and she's a journalist for a medical publication magazine. And then my sister, Christina, graduated from Shawnee and went on to play field hockey at University of Maryland. And she's currently the head coach of the champion Seneca field hockey team. So I'd say some of my allegiances have kind of changed over to Seneca, and I had to bring my Seneca shirt she got me to represent here.
Perfect.
The Seneca women's field hockey team, who have been doing excellent over the last few years as the head coach.
Yes, they certainly have. Excellent. Now, some of the teachers that had an influence on you in high school, one of the ones that you mentioned was KB Smith or Kirk Smith, your science teacher.
Yes, yeah. Mr. Smith, I knew him actually all the way from freshman year to senior year, and I was in the executive homeroom, and he was also in charge of that. So I got to spend a lot of time with him and teaching me science, and obviously that's my career path that I chose. He was a very big influence on me picking biology as a major in college and progressing on to medical school. And he was an easy person to talk to if you ever had questions in regards not only to work, but also, life and careers and different jobs and past high school. So he was really a big influence for me. And I'm glad that Christina is actually having the opportunity to teach with him at Seneca now. So that's great to see that he's also been teaching, the next generation of young scientists as well. So.
Excellent. And Brian Gibney was also somebody that you had a good relationship with as well?
Yeah. Coach Gibney was a great guy. Now he's since retired from Shawnee, but he was really influential. I was going along playing soccer, and one of the big things that always stood out with me is, we at the time, the Shawnee men's soccer team was really one of the top in the country. A couple guys before and after me played Division I soccer, and
Yep.
Even in my class, played Division I soccer, and even some guys went on to the MLS and professional levels. So, I had worked my way up to the varsity team, but my senior year, I broke my foot. I was in great shape and hoping to play a lot. And then, unfortunately, that kind of stopped my season, dead in the tracks there. But Coach Gibney allowed me to still be part of the team and help with other things. And it really meant a lot that, once I got back towards the end of the year, I was able to just play a few minutes, just because it was my senior season, and got to be a part of the team. And unfortunately, my senior year we lost at the state championship game, but that was really influential that he allowed me to be a part of the team even after such a bad injury. So, and I know he's always helped the students for many, many years at Shawnee. So he was definitely an influence as well.
Terrific. Your activities, you mentioned soccer, tennis, winter track as well, French club, and National Honor Society. Tell me about some of those that stood out for you.
Sure. Yeah, being a part of the French club was a lot of fun. And I have to recall, but I think I was like the best French student that year. So I don't remember how many people were up for that, but that was kind of a big honor, and it helped me. I studied French throughout college and got to travel there extensively, and use some of that. As time goes on, I've kind of forgotten some of it, but that really was a big part of high school and helped me in college and when I was able to travel there. And, National Honor Society was another fun group to be a part of that did some volunteer work as well. I did track, winter track, and then I played tennis to kind of keep in shape in the spring. And that was also a fun group of guys to be with. And it really, tennis was a great sport to kind of get into shape. And I played doubles with a gentleman named Jared Mello, and we were, I think, the second doubles, I believe.
Okay.
And we had a lot of fun playing together, and we kept in touch a little bit after high school, and continued to play tennis together for a while after that too.
Terrific. A couple of the other memories you talked about, senior trip and just spending time with friends.
Yeah, so I remember the senior trip was a ton of fun, and unfortunately, I don't think the students from last year probably got to experience it, but it was really a great time at the end of high school to kind of, really kind of, let loose and have a good time down in Florida and spend time with your friends and, going to movies and down the shore and things like that throughout, junior and senior in high school were a ton of fun.
Great. So after Shawnee, after graduation, you're off to college at St. Joseph's University, where you got your Bachelor of Science in Biology, and then medical school at Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine.
Yeah. So right from Shawnee, I think at that time it was a really bad winter. So we graduated fairly late in June. So I was at college, I think, within like 6 weeks. So it kind of came on really quickly. But the nice thing was, even at St. Joe's, there were some other Shawnee alum that I got to see and spend time with. So it made the transition fairly easy. And, it was nice being in Philadelphia. And I would recommend St. Joseph's to anyone for an undergrad education, because I think it really prepared me for medical school and that transition as well. But while at St. Joe's, I was involved with being the resident associate or assistant.
Okay.
And that was an excellent experience. And I was also involved in doing some missionary work and trips to the Dominican Republic, working with the Dominican Republic population around these Haitian bâtés and, trying to help them provide medical care to them there.
Terrific.
And while at St. Joe's, I also did some plant physiology research down at University of Texas in Austin that involved doing, splunking or caving, and studying the plant network of the certain plants down there. And that was with Professor Andrew McElroan, who since moved on to, he's in California now. And I also did some tuberculosis research in the South Philadelphia population at the time as well.
Okay, very interesting. So after that, you do your internship and residency in internal medicine at the University of Medicine and Dentistry of New Jersey, or UMDNJ. So you're still staying local, and you're participating in the fellowship in gastroenterology there.
Yep. Yeah. So I met my wife even during my internship. She's an emergency medicine doctor, so I met her at Our Lady of Lourdes Hospital, which is now Virtua. But yeah, we stayed local, and I did my training there at UMDNJ, as well as my internship, residency, and then fellowship in gastroenterology at UMDNJ in New Jersey. And that was another great experience. Again, it was even kind of interesting to see the number of alumni who were physicians in the community, or who were medical students, or who were in training with me, and even on different rotations throughout medical school. I got to see some of the alumni who were trained at like Jefferson or University of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And it was great to kind of see how everybody was doing so well in their careers. So I know there's a good number of Lenape Regional High School students who graduated and gone on to be great physicians, not only in this area, but around the country for sure.
Terrific. And after that, you head to Texas, University of Texas Health Science Center at San Antonio. And that's where you did some more advanced fellowship work.
Yeah. So after my training at UMDNJ, I received a fellowship for some advanced level training and some procedures performed mainly on people with pancreatic cancer. This condition called Barrett's esophagus, which is a pre-malignant condition of the esophagus, to treat that. Okay. Also learning some other techniques to take out large lesions throughout the GI tract that maybe aren't amenable to resection in the local community. So we were in San Antonio at the time. My fiance and I were in San Antonio, and that was really one of the best experiences of my life, having that opportunity to work with my mentor, a gentleman named Sandeep Patel, as well as Laura Rosenkrantz. They really showed me many different techniques and novel techniques how to treat these previously, malignancies or cancers that couldn't be treated. So that was really one of the best experiences of my life. I'm glad I had the opportunity to go down to San Antonio, Texas, and work with them. And again, it's kind of grown my knowledge base as well as my physician network into Texas as well.
Sure. Terrific. So from there, you move on to, you start with Jefferson Health, who you're with now, and you start out in the Chicago area, right?
Yeah, so once I graduated, or once I finished my advanced endoscopy fellowship, I moved to a town called Rockford, Illinois, which was about an hour outside of downtown Chicago. So we were, it was a level 1 a trauma center, and we were a main referral center for Northern Illinois for all these type of advanced procedures. And that was the first job of my career, and I really, again, enjoyed working there and spending time in the Midwest, traveling a ton from there to different parts, St. Louis and Milwaukee and Green Bay and Iowa and all these Midwest cities. And the Midwest was really a great place to live. It was a little cold this time of year, but overall it was a great place to live, and I enjoyed my time there tremendously. And then, like you said, I was recruited back to, at that time, Jefferson was growing and recruiting and buying different health systems throughout New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and I was recruited back to perform some of these advanced procedures in New Jersey, and not having to send patients into Philadelphia. It was a little bit easier of a commute, and there's a large patient base and need for this in this area. So we were recruited back to start performing these advanced and novel techniques at Jefferson Health in Cherry Hill.
So you were telling me before the show, a lot of these advanced procedures that you're doing are a lot of the stuff that a lot of the other doctors don't want to do. Is that just because they don't feel they're as qualified as you to do them, or is there another reason that they're not choosing to do a lot of these?
Sure, yeah. I think it's just a little bit of extra training, so that extra year in San Antonio to learn these techniques. And with anything, you need to have a certain level or a number of procedures completed and credentialing to feel comfortable. So sometimes, some physicians don't want to pursue this. They like other things within the field, performing general gastroenterology procedures or liver disease or motility-related disorders. But no, it's obviously people want this procedure done by someone who's highly skilled and who has extra training in this, and as well as more of the want and desire to kind of perform these procedures. Yeah. Okay.
And some of the things we're talking about maybe for pancreatic cancer, or what other types of illnesses would you be doing this?
One of the main things we deal with is unfortunately pancreatic cancer. and that usually requires us to perform a procedure called endoscopic ultrasound, which again is a special procedure or skill that I learned in my time down in San Antonio. And we also treat things like bile duct cancer, or it's also called cholangiocarcinoma. We also treat pre-malignant lesions. So we are sometimes able to prevent patients from having surgery. So we're able to remove these lesions, with an endoscope, as to it's minimally invasive as opposed to having to a large surgery that may alter some of their bowel function and things like that. And these procedures save patients from sometimes having a large procedure or surgery that was unnecessary. So other kind of diseases we treat are things called like carcinoid tumors or GIST tumors, and these are kind of neuroendocrine tumors related to the GI tract. So it's a lot of, but I'd say mainly it's mostly cholangiocarcinoma or bile duct cancer and pancreatic cancer, some of the more common diseases that we treat.
Okay. So along with these advanced procedures that you're doing and all the people you're helping, you're also helping future docs, and you're a professor as well. Tell us about that.
Sure. Yeah, that's we're at our group is affiliated with Rowan University School of Osteopathic Medicine in Stratford, New Jersey. And we have 6 fellows from all over the country who've come in to train with us. And they're all excellent physicians who are already certified in internal medicine and now are learning gastroenterology for 3 years. So we're training them not only on general GI procedures, but as well as some of this advanced techniques and these procedures. So they're a great group of young adults and future gastroenterologists, and they're really great to work with. And you see them go from their first year to third year, and then they go on and work in different parts of the country and throughout South Jersey and the community. So we're teaching them all these techniques so that they can go practice on their own after 3 years.
Okay. And you haven't been at this too long yet, actually, but you've already started to accumulate some honors and some awards. You've been invited to the American Society for Gastrointestinal Endoscopy Committee for endoscopic ultrasound. You're a fellow of the American College of Osteopathic Internists. Tell us about those.
Sure. Yeah. Joining the committee for the endoscopic ultrasound was really a big honor. It's for me, it's a lot of the physicians who are a member of this committee are highly recognized nationally as well as internationally. So it helps us. This committee kind of lets us standardize the procedures and as well as we're also reviewing research that's presented at different conferences, mainly this conference called Digestive Disease Week that happens once a year. And then the other honor, which I just received recently, was becoming a fellow of the American College of Osteopathic Internists. And that was an honor that's received for, being a member of, or being an internist who's board certified and has been practiced for a few years, as well as, you have to receive letters and things like that to become a member of that society. Okay. And that was really a big honor, and it means a lot in our community and our practice. So, again, these are, 2 things that I was really excited about, and I'm glad that I got to be a part of, and, hopefully just keep building from there.
Congratulations on those. And you've also been featured in multiple medical publications, and you're doing presentations as well. Tell us about that. Sure,
yeah. So again, this year has been a little bit quieter than most,
Sure.
But I've been featured on like Al Jazeera television talking about different GI disorders, and was recently about something about like different types of these diet teas. So they asked me if they really work or not, and my feeling on that. And then I was recently on Helio.com to talk about how we were training the fellows during the COVID crisis, and how our field doing elective procedures, how it's changed during COVID, and how we were kind of working with different PPE equipment and stuff like that to try to get procedures that we want to prevent cancer, or we want to screen for cancer, and we want to diagnose cancer, and without holding up a diagnosis too long. So I talked about different techniques in PPE and things we were doing at Jefferson Health in New Jersey to try to get people diagnosed appropriately and without having to wait too long. So That's kind of the more recent stuff we've done. I've had some publications in like the Journal of Gastrointestinal Cancer, some posters and presentations with American College of Gastroenterology, as well as with the American College of Orthopedic Internists. So we've done a lot of good work during my training and into my being an attending, and now with the fellowship program and fellows, more publications to come soon as well. I hope so.
Terrific. Well, you're certainly keeping busy and have accomplished a lot already. Let's move and talk about your family life a little bit. You married your wife in 2018, and she is an ER physician. Tell us how you guys met.
Yeah. So that's a great question. Shabnam is a ER physician. She's currently practicing in Princeton, New Jersey, and she's had to go with me, and she's been a rock, and she's had to go with me throughout, doing the different training and working throughout the country. And we met during our internship. We were on the same medical service and clinic, and just started talking. And then one day I just asked her out, and she was a little hesitant at first, but I think maybe 3 or 4 times. And finally she said yes, and we've been together ever since. And we've been married almost 3 years. We've been dating, or we were dating about 5 years before that. We got engaged. One weekend. We went up to the Hamptons for the weekend, and we got engaged up there. And we were married in Baltimore, Maryland in 2018. It was kind of midway between, my family's mostly in New Jersey and Philadelphia, and her family's in the Washington, D.C. area.
Okay.
So we got married in Baltimore in 2018, and been working together ever since. For a while we were at the same hospital, and now we're at 2 different health systems. But it's very nice being married to another physician. You can talk about different cases and how you would handle something, and her thoughts and my thoughts and that sort of thing. So I give her a lot of credit, working during this COVID virus pandemic, and I respect her a lot for that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. You mentioned a little bit before about how COVID has impacted your area of expertise, with your wife being an ER physician. What's the impact been in her area?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. At first I think it was very scary, and people weren't sure what to do or how to handle it, and everybody was kind of learning on the fly, and rules, regulations, policies, things were changing, hour to hour. And I know, when she first was going to the emergency room diagnosing patients with the coronavirus, they weren't sure about what to wear for PPE, or how to, how to handle the rooms and all these sort of different situations.
Yeah. And,
what type of mask did she need? Did she need 2 masks? Did she need goggles? No one really knew at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And, you kind of see as things have kind of progressed with our knowledge and different guidelines that have come out, and, you see that they really have grown, and people really have learned from what's been happening over the months before. But I would say, and now they've it's old hat, but I think when it first came out, or the virus first kind of spread into this area, and, in Princeton, they're a little bit closer to New York, so they had some more, higher level cases than maybe in South Jersey at first. So,
yeah.
I think she handled it very well. She went in there, never missed a shift, wore all of her appropriate PPE. But no, I think she was nervous, just like everybody else was at first. But she knew this is what she kind of signed up for as an ER doctor, and I'm really proud of her for working through that.
It must be difficult, though, because with all your training as a physician, you're trained on all these things, and then something comes along that you don't have any training on because nobody knows anything about it. So that must really be a difficult thing, I would imagine, for a physician to kind of deal with all of a sudden.
Yeah, no, and like you said, you trained for years and years on different, you kind of learned about everything, and then all of a sudden there's something that no one really knows about, and people get frustrated because no one knows what to do. But it's one of these things that 5 years from now, with data and research and retrospective studies and all this sort of thing, they're going to have a great idea of what to do when this happens. But no, that's a great question. I think not the physicians get frustrated, staff gets frustrated, but we were kind of all learning and growing together, and I think I can speak for myself at Jefferson. Our team worked really well together to get patients in when they needed procedures, and they came up with a great protocol of how to screen patients for coronavirus prior to endoscopic procedures and surgery.
Okay.
And they worked really hard to get these policies and procedures down. But no, I mean, it's you're learning and still are. Things kind of got better in the summer, and then they're worse again in the fall.
Yeah.
No, but that's a great question, and like I said, I think we're still learning about it even into today.
Yeah. All right, staying in the family area, your mother recently retired from Millville School District. She is an educator there, and she was, in 2010, featured on the Oprah Winfrey Show. Tell us that story.
Yeah, no, it was really an awesome experience, and I am really proud of her for that and everything she's done. They had, and again, I think it was an anonymous source, or somehow they got my information. And I wrote into them, and I kind of forgot about it after that. And then I was contacted by a producer, maybe like a month later, and they were kind of asking me more questions about it, and said, "Oh, we'll get back to you." And then they kind of said, "Well, we want to come out to your mom's house and videotape you guys." I'm like, "Well, for what?" They're like, "We want to hear your story a little bit more in detail." And
this was related to your mom being a single mom and kind of having three kids.
This was related to her. She raised 3 kids on her own. One in medical school at the time.
Okay.
My younger sister, Melissa was a journalist, and my younger sister Christina was an all-state field hockey player at Shawnee, and then she went on to become I think 2-time national champion at University of Maryland, and her class had won the most games at Maryland, all time. So,
wow.
She really kind of did, great things as being a single mother and working all these different jobs. And they kind of said that this was going to be a story about, how, financially responsible she was, and how, she managed budgets and that sort of stuff to help put 3 kids through college.
Yeah.
And then when we got there, they were actually really good at keeping it a secret for sure. And when we got there, they put us on stage, and we were kind of we didn't know what to think. And then all of a sudden Oprah came out and, told my mom that they were going to pay off the loans that she had inherited. And then, at that time, her, because she was working all the time, putting the kids in school, they were going to give her dream trip to Italy, which they did. And,
wow.
We went on that trip about a year, I think, well, maybe less than a year later at the time. And, she since was featured on the show a couple different times for Where Are They Now? And, one of Oprah's favorite moments. And it was really, an experience of a lifetime. And I was so proud of her for that. And, so was my younger sister, Christina, and Melissa were all very proud of her. And, it was a really cool experience. And then I think she was featured on the local news for 6 ABC, and, she was in Huffington Post and all these different things. So kind of a whirlwind came out of it, but I even told her she should have wrote a book, but we'll see. Maybe now that she's just recently retired,
she's got time.
So maybe this will be something she can do for now.
So all 4 of you were on that original episode together?
Yes, yeah, we were all on there. They brought us all up at one time, and they had some, like I said, they did some shooting out in Tabernacle. They brought a film crew there.
Okay.
We were thinking that maybe Oprah was going to come, but no, unfortunately she didn't come out to Tabernacle. But no, when we met her, she was unbelievable, super nice person, and nothing but the best things to say about her. And she really gave us a great experience, and helped pay off student loan debt for my mom, who worked very, very hard, and helped put us all through school. Yeah.
So what was that like when you found out? When they finally revealed to you everything that they're giving to your mom? What?
And we were shocked. If you go on YouTube, I haven't watched in a while, but there are still clips there. I think I was crying like a baby.
Sure, who wouldn't be?
But it was just unbelievable. We were so shocked. I didn't know what to say. I think my older sister, Melissa, was hugging Oprah for 5 minutes, but it was kind of an unbelievable experience. And it was crazy. We didn't know what to do, and the crowd went crazy. I think they dropped confetti, and it was an unbelievable experience. So, But no, I was in total shock when it happened because we didn't think any of this was going to happen. We just kind of thought we were going to be talking about budgets and stuff.
Sure.
So when this happened on stage, and like, they caught every single moment of us being shocked. So it was crazy.
That's awesome. All right, so some other interests in your life right now. We spoke about, you have traveled around the U.S. a little bit. You've done some more extensive travel around the world as well. You and your wife have traveled all through Europe. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so once we kind of got done our training, like we were bouncing all over the place from Texas to Illinois and back down to the East Coast. We finally had some time to travel. So since I've been done training, she and I have had, been fortunate enough and blessed enough to be able to travel all throughout Europe. Some of our favorite places we've gone and we love is like Porto, Portugal, and Nice, France, and and as well as like Amsterdam. We love these places, and we've been to Greece and England, Scotland, all throughout Western Europe, and it's been really a great experience, and we've been so fortunate to have and blessed to be able to do that. So we try to take advantage of it whenever we can to get away and to check these places out. And my wife loves to travel, so anywhere in the world we can go, she wants to go.
Fantastic. What's next on the list?
Yeah, so next on the list, we're talking. I think we're going to take when we can, we're going to take my mom on a retirement trip. I think we're going to go to Argentina. So I think that'll be the next spot we can get to.
Very nice.
So they've all been looking forward to go there. So I think that's our next spot.
Very good. And as far as the U.S., one of your favorite places is Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, near where you guys used to live out near Chicago. Tell us about that.
Sure, yeah. And even, again, unfortunately, we haven't had the chance to go since we've moved back to, South Jersey. But, outside of Chicago, it's a beautiful, lake community called Lake Geneva. It's where kind of the Wrigleys and all these billionaire individuals have these beautiful homes, and they have a beautiful walking path around the outside of the homes, and it's a very good place to go and relax and water ski and do boating, and they have great cuisine, so it's one of our favorite places to go in the United States. And during the winter they have an amazing ice sculpture competition, and the main street there is great. So I would recommend anyone if they have a chance to ever go out there to get out there. But we love to go there, and even now that we're back in New Jersey, when able to, we're definitely going to be going back out there, hopefully every year.
Terrific. And aside from travel, another thing that has piqued your interest, at least recently, is politics, and you're considering maybe starting a bit of a political career?
Yeah, so I'm the type that kind of gets bored after a while. So, doing all this medical training and all this, it's, I feel like I've accomplished it and I've reached my goals. So, I think my next, thing I'd like to conquer is to get into politics. I attended a meeting not too long ago in Washington, D.C., about how physicians can get into politics, and there have been different physicians at every level, community, state, as well as national government, that have been involved in politics. So when I get settled here, I think that's going to be our next big opportunity is to get into hopefully some local politics and go from there. But that'll be that's the next thing I'd like to try to work at and try to conquer that part of or that realm of society, is to try to get into that. And it's nice to try to make a difference in your community and in your state and in Burlington County, and I would like to be involved in changing these different parts of government.
That's terrific. Wish you best of luck with that. It sounds like you've already been making a difference in your community with your work that you've been doing so far. So we wish you continued success on a very successful career in a relatively short amount of time since graduating Shawnee. So we wish you all the best in the future, and it's been great having you here today. Thanks for being with us, and stay well.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it, and hope everybody stays safe and take care.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you.
And that's all for this episode of Where Are They Now? For other Lenape District alumnus interviews, you can check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/Lenape District TV. We'll see you next time.